Alright, so today I'll be showing you guys a really amazing prompt where basically you can have ChatGPT grade your fantasy football team and tell you whether or not it's a good team and why. Now, you can obviously do this just with a standard, ChatGPT chat, and a lot of the drafts that you engage in typically for fantasy football will give you a grade of some sort, but the thing is, a lot of these grades, including the ones from ChatGPT, typically are very shallow. They look at just ADP and they don't really give you an answer as to why your team is not perfect or why it is good. But with the prompt we're using today, it actually dives into all kinds of different metrics and analyzes your team from the bottom up, and then gives you a grade and explains as to why your team is either good or bad and what you can improve on. So the prompt looks something like this. You can get it from the pinned comment of the video, as it will be too long for the description, but it basically states, act as my independent, analytics-driven fantasy football team evaluator. Your job is to grade my fantasy football team for my exact league format and tell me whether it is built to win first place. Then it goes over a bunch of different stuff, as well as all the analytics that I wanted to give us, including things like, for instance, target share, rush share, red zone roll, all kinds of different stuff, analyzing each individual player and whether it actually makes sense for the league and the settings that we're in. And then it'll go over all kinds of other stuff, but like I said, this prompt is extremely beginner friendly. Once you get it from the description of the video, from the pinned comment, you basically just copy it, hit paste, hit enter, and you're good to go. It'll actually start up the prompt. It's best to have ChatGPT on high intelligence mode and have your search enabled so it can actually look over the web to see whether your actual roster makes sense. So it says, I'll evaluate the roster independently using your exact league settings and optimizing specifically for first place equity, not whether the team merely looks good on paper. I'll use current 2026 projections, and then it goes, send me league settings, scoring, number of teams, starting lineup requirements, and your full roster. So I'm going to do all of this really quickly. So I basically told it it's a 10-man PPR league with 10 teams. Well, it kind of goes with 10-man PPR, but PPR league with 10 teams. The lineup requirement is 1 QB, 2 wide receiver, 2 running back, 1 tight end, 2 flex, 1 DST, and 1 kicker. And I also include 2 screenshots of the full mock draft lineup in this case. So we gave it the number of teams, starting lineup requirements, and the league settings scoring, and now the full roster. So now I'm going to go ahead and send it, and we're going to see what it's going to actually grade my team. It's going to go through each of the players, assess it with the metrics that we put in, and it'll give us a full grade. It's going to search all over the web to determine whether or not these players make sense, especially in the context of the league that I'm playing in. So in this case, all you'd have to do is upload screenshots of your roster. What might also be helpful is uploading the other teams so it can assess whether or not, given the other teams, how good you'd actually rank. But, just your roster is good enough. And then it goes ahead and gives us our grade. So we got an overall grade of A-, a 91 out of 100, and a first place equity of high. So it goes over and tells us whether it's a good team, why we got the grade, and it goes into depth as to why. It goes over the category scoring as to what we're dealing with each position, the flex strength, the bench upside, the roster construction, injury risk, regression profile, first place upside, and then higher injury risk score means safer. So the higher the injury risk here in terms of the scoring, the better. That's why there's a little asterisk. We get the biggest strengths, the biggest weaknesses, clear key player notes. So it gives in-depth analysis of each players that are important. And then we get recommendations as to what we can do, because I have two QBs on this team. So it says Shot Mahomes. Real life reputation is much higher than his current fantasy valuation. That's a good recommendation, I would believe. Then a final verdict. Is this a true first place contender? Yes, definitely. I'd put it in the upper tier of a typical 10-team league, but not automatically the best team without seeing the other rosters. That's why it's important to upload the other rosters if you want the cleanest and, most accurate depiction and grading. But even with just your roster, you will get a grading. So that's what you get from this prompt. You get a in-depth analysis of your team and some recommendations so you can hopefully win first place and make the adjustments that you see necessary. Like I said, the prompt is a little bit more I guess you could say, in depth than your typical grading scheme, because it analyzes every aspect and all kinds of different metrics, which you can read yourself by going through the prompt. Once again, the prompt is in the pinned comment. You'll see it as the pinned comment on this video. Just copy it, paste it into ChatGPT, and then follow through with all the other information regarding your league and your roster. So hopefully you guys found this video helpful. If you did, please like and subscribe, and have a nice day.